As we enter into 9/15, we're midway through September, so we're starting to see that back end push for things that might become pink, things that are current, and where companies are reporting going into Q3s of 2021. Three of the top gainers I saw that were in my profile today were BLUU for BLUU, CEI for camber, and FCEL for fuel cell. When you looked at BSSP, they had kind of stayed where they were around that 0007. They were showing some movement on volume a little bit, but they're still waiting to become completely current and update their financials. Still a waiting game. There's not a lot of transparency right now with what's going on, so everyone's kind of in a hold pattern. With BLUU, they were a shell. We're a hype. We're for a minute on a merger. Kind of went cold. Hasn't really been a lot of transparency on them. But then out of nowhere, they kind of pumped up today. And they came off their bottom. So if they continue to pump up tomorrow, or if they just drop back down to that 0001, tomorrow will be interesting to see what they do. And towards the weeks ahead to finish out September, if they become delisted or what happens with some of these companies. When it comes to plug-in fuel cell, they're normally pretty close, but today fuel cell, they had their reported earnings and they did better than expected. They had doubled their revenue from the last time on their report, and today you saw a huge spike in their volume go up today. They had reached a day high of 754 and a day low at 612. When they finished, they were around that 644. I think with both these companies, they're pretty good on the short if you're playing a week or a month and watching where they are in earnings and quarters. They've been able to bring you some yield for a couple dollars, depending on how many shares you're playing into. I still think these, being in the energy sector, they're good long plays. You look at the infrastructure bill, they can carry that weight of 10 years, and you could see a healthy gain come back from them. When you look at fuel cell, they're one of the ones where I feel that if you base them on a $10 stock, the bears definitely pushed them down. It's a good time to buy. But if you stay bullish on this stock, they can definitely rise up above that $10 and stay above that $10 eventually here. It's all about when it happens, but once they go back above 10, I don't necessarily see them coming back down below it too much. And I would shoot for them to go for that $10 to probably $18 range and stay in there. So I think if you're buying into fuel cell right now, if they peaked out around the 28, 29 mark, right now, if you can get in for half of where they peaked at, and you're in under 14, and whenever they go low, whatever your lowest position is, just keep buying in and leveraging down. You can have a pretty good play and pretty good stake in them, even if you're just buying a little here, a little there, and just building your bag up. With fuel cell, I think right now, with them being under 8, now is probably the time to buy. Once they go above that 8 mark, they'll probably stay a little bit above it, and then they'll go through some resistance, and once they go above the 8 and travel towards 10 to 12, I can see them holding in there for a minute. And once they go up past that 15, you could probably see them holding that 15 to 18 mark for a while in the future. That might be 2022, might be 2023. We just have to see what the economy does and how much infrastructure gets pumped in and how much money gets released and where. But as you go in through 2022 and you look at the 2022 to 2024, that's going to be a big building phase where if you hold some of these stocks through 2024 into 2026, you're going to see a pretty good return start to come out of them. This shows some earnings forecasts going for fuel cell up to 2024. When you look at them, they definitely keep increasing some things like the cash on hand. This was from April 2021, but you can look at their revenue here, and now on this last report, they definitely doubled where their revenue was and what they reported. So they're continuing to do a gradual climb upwards. So with them going green and beating this quarter, I'm kind of bullish that they may continue to beat other forecasts and future quarters coming out. One of the reasons when you look back at where they were, when it comes to their reporting, they're definitely reporting better and better and better. So like I said, 2021 to 2022 still might be a rough patch for them. They get through 2023 into 2024, and this is a company that's been around for a minute, so I don't see them going anywhere. But as they continue to build back and build back better on their side, and they get more deals not only in the US but around the world, and that goes with fuel cell and plug, I can see both of them continuing to grow with their companies. With plug, you can see where this was at 11:41 today. I had jumped on and I saw where plug and fuel cell, they were both up over $1 for the day. So depending on where you're buying in low, where you're selling off at, they do have some volatility in there where you can make a little bit off of them, even in the short plays. VXRT is another one that they have that point and trajectory where they could possibly triple at any time, and then I've seen them go up and I've seen them come back down. With Virgin Galactic, they're another one where once they start actually selling tickets and taking in revenue, if their tourism industry of going to space caught on, you never know what could happen with that company. Then again, it could have some setbacks and go the other direction. So anything in stocks is a risk, anything's a gamble. It's all a lottery ticket, but you have more control, and maybe at least you can get something back, and you're not always completely losing like if you played a lottery ticket. So I think stocks have their risks, but I also think that they have their reward and not a total loss. You might take some losses, but if you play your positions well and your entry points low, this is probably those low entry points before we get into 2022 to 2024. And if the energy sector takes off, you could see some definite uptrends on some of these companies. Fuel cell plug power stocks rise as Senate passes infrastructure bill. It's all about the longs. So if you're holding some of these companies for that long 10 years, you could definitely see it. This was on here to show you about BLUU. They went through a phase, but I'm wondering, and we're all going to have to see where this company goes towards the end of September. If they're just going to pump up some before they get delisted, if they can become completely pink current and they actually report something on financials, and if anything comes out of this deal, then you might see them pump up a little bit. it'll be interesting. But I think here on the 14th, you kind of saw where I think they kind of bottomed out. So maybe this is where they start to trend up, or maybe they're going to drop right back down and be right at that 0001 again. This shows BLUU coming through, and at the same time they came down, and you can see where this last week they're at where they hit their rock bottom. So being at their rock bottom, do they go down to just stay at 0, or will they travel back upwards? If they travel back upwards, you can definitely see where they could possibly and might be drug out, but going through September, if they headed back up and they made some reports and they caught up with everything with OTC, maybe they could pull something out of their hat and maybe they could rise back up again. But I think, once again, it's one of those bullish plays if you're in on it. If you bought in low, just to see what will happen. You know, if you're holding a bag, just to say, hey, you know, something might come out of it. If you're smart and you leverage down before they quit letting you buy on certain platforms and you're able to leverage down low enough, then it was worth, even like right now, I think it was like a 200% gain, but even on the pennies on the dollar, it all adds up. So making a little change even on the way out, if they are going to get delisted, and you can sell them off, and even if they went back up to 0006 to 0008 and let some people get back out some money, it's better than losing it all. So CEI, Canberra Energy, they're another one in that energy sector. They've definitely been popping up. I think right now on them, if you're in under this $3 mark, you're doing pretty good. So if you're buying in and leveraging out where they're low, if you're able to get in back when they're like 60 cents before they hit $1, if you're able to get in at that 92 to 95 cent mark, now they're up above, $1.50. They seem like they're holding there. They're probably going to run to $2. Even if, the bears get in at $2, they're still going to be making money when it goes to $4 or $5. I can definitely see the stock running up towards that $5, $6 mark. And I think that's that trajectory where we're going, where once you break that $3 mark, right now you want to try to, if you got into CEI or you're looking to get into CEI, they're definitely one of those stocks where if you can get in under this $3 going into the future, looking at 2022, I would definitely say by the time you're in 2022, they're going to be past that $5, $6 mark, and they're going to be heading upwards. And then you're going to see them rise to that 6 to 9, and then shooting for that 12. I would say that they can definitely be there by 2023. So if you're looking into the future on long plays, they're definitely one that, if they, with the merger with Viking, you look at all those wind farms, you look at all the different holdings. When things come to fruition in 2024, you'll see that payout in 2024. We're going into 2025, 2026. You'll have those hefty gains. With CEI, this is where they are kind of current. You're kind of aiming towards that 226 mark. So I think right now they're on this trajectory up. When they go up, will they fall back down some? But I would say that even if they went up to the 226, when they fall, they probably won't come back down as low as they have been. They'll probably come back down to maybe that $1.50 at the lowest point. Are they going to continue the trajectory upward, or are they going to arrow across and kind of pump and dump for a minute, a little bit over, create a couple hills, then shoot up and rocket again? So this will be a company to watch. Keep a close eye on your investments. If they do drop down, just match what you have and leverage back down again. With Plug, they're one of those that they've been working their way across. As they're working their way across, when they pump up, I can see eventually that going into the future, they're another one where, by the time you get into 2022, 2023, I could see them, right now, I think them coming down to this 24, they haven't went underneath that $24 mark. I would say that 24 is the bottom. But if you're getting into them anywhere around that $24 to $26 range, you're going to probably do pretty good on this company, where by the time they get up there and they start to rise up, they probably hit $38. Once they hit $38, I can see like 35 to 42 being that little bump play in there, where once they go above 42, they might stay up there and hold again. And right now, if you're getting into them at $24.50 to $25, you're getting into where their peak was around 75. So you're looking at when they get back to where they had their peak at in 2021, that you could be looking at a 3 times play. But when you're looking down the road, 2022 to 2024, you look further ahead to 2026, 2028, they're definitely going to be that stock up over $100, where when you go to buy in later, it might be a lot harder to get in because the price is up there. You won't be able to buy as many shares. Where right now you could buy 4 shares and hold them, and then when they're up over 100, you're making some money. So it's all about that next level, thinking about it going into 2022, and it's about that long hold play. If you're buying in now because you can see it going up into 2022, but you're looking at that trajectory path to head towards 2022 to 2024, 2024 to 2026, and then 2026 to 2030. You want to look ahead. So as you're looking ahead on infrastructure, if they're doing a 10-year package, where are some of these companies going to hit on their plays? So it's all about the buy low, your entry point. When you enter a point, make sure you're keeping track of where you're at. If they drop below it, maybe match that, lower your point, and then you'll make that heftier gain on the long run. So buy the drop. It's all about the what ifs, and it's all about leveraging your position. So when I looked at this, definitely be smart on your plays this week. Watch September. The end of September should be a roller coaster. But as you're doing this, make sure you're checking into the companies that are definitely current. Watch their quarterly reports. Make sure the companies that are reporting, they're not going to get delisted. Make sure you're not throwing your money away at a company that's going to go gray and get taken off the charts. Remember, I'm not a stockbroker. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a blue-collar worker trying to pay it forward, put some information out there. Hopefully this helps. If you want me to do a video about anything, drop a comment in the comment box, and I'll be sure to check them out. I hope everybody has a great week and a strong finish to this week.